So, friendship is kind of weird because, wow, my eyes are like very blue in this light, but friendship's interesting because, like, my model for human beings is the Odyssey. And then, I guess, like, distant second, the Gospels. Because, like, Odysseus is a much more attainable role model than Jesus Christ. I mean, Jesus Christ is like who we're all aiming for, but I feel like you can't even really appreciate Jesus until you have at least the gall of Odysseus. So I use the Odyssey as like I really just go back to the Odyssey a lot. Like you think about like parent-child relationships, development, management of people. I just go back to the Odyssey because it's the most enduring work on the subject. Like it's literally it outlasted the Mycenaean civilization, the classical Greek civilization, the the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire, and is currently dominating our civilization. It's just 5 civilizations, and they toppled the Trojans. So unless you have a better idea to doubt, then I think it's good to combine the Odyssey with the Bible because you have the enduring. Like, you have the Old Testament Jews who have a lot of enduringness, and then you have the Christians, and the Christians are really the inheritors of the Old Testament covenant, so they're like the new Israel, but we're still existing in this transitionary phase, so this is a lot of Jews around thinking that they're Israel, but nothing against them. I actually find them really interesting to talk to. I like to talk to Jews about this and Nietzsche, specifically. I love talking, like, the more Jewy they are, and, like, Orthodox Jewy, like, the better. Like, I just love them, like, you're a unified ethnic group. Let me talk to you about my ideas on different races and philosophies. Now, philosophies emerge out of races. And they're just like, yes! This is all we think about. And I'm like, awesome. And then we just talk about it, and they're like, they literally tell me, they're like, you seem like you have a very chaotic psyche. And I'm like you seem like you have a very, very Jewish psyche. And they're like, I do. And I'm like, well, I guess my psyche probably does seem chaotic to you then. But friendship, though. So the Odyssey, Odysseus, Eurylochus. Odysseus and Eurylochus are interesting because Eurylochus ultimately just tries to usurp Odysseus. And this is just something I see. It's a pattern in friendships. And this is where, I mean, Hewlett and Packard did it. Like, Hewlett and Packard actually managed to, like, form a lasting relationship that transcended their own immediate limitations as bounded human beings and actually created something that became something pretty cool. I mean, I'd love to be more... Like, HP, ultimately, they failed to, like, I think, leave it to their children or really kind of establish that, like, bloodline-type willpower legacy. But that's really hard, and I haven't done that yet. Though maybe I'm just a part of that because my family has. But, yeah, probably just that. Probably my family's already done that, and I'm just participating in that. So, I guess, like, HP did it, but it really, like, and this is also before Christ, I do think that the Christian revelation makes things possible that were not possible before. Namely, like, we don't, like, major world governments, at least the United States government, doesn't use public crucifixion as a means of deterring crime, which was really popular before Christ. And I think that's because we've realized, like, scapegoating people doesn't really work. Martyrs, you make martyrs out of people if you're trying to, like, set an example, and then they actually, like, go to the cross, which, like, people do go like, I'm going to the cross, I'm gonna be one with God. They're like, holy shit, this was not the intended effect. So I do think that it is possible to go to the cross for your friends in Anno Domini, the year of the Lord, probably even before then too, but I mean, Christ really set a very good example there, and we should all be very happy. Because, okay, like Plato, for instance. Plato just let Socrates be executed. He was just hiding under his bed at home in Athens, just allowing his mentor to be forced to drink hemlock. Because he's like, what am I going to do about it? I mean, in some sense, like, would we even know about Socrates if not for Plato? Maybe. I haven't studied it nearly enough to really understand that, but I ultimately know, well, we know about Jesus in through his disciples. So maybe, I mean, if Plato had the gall to lead by example, but if Plato would be God incarnate or something, roughly approximating. So I think that Christ ultimately set an example that could lead to real friendship in the modern world, but it just doesn't really seem to happen. And honestly, I more often see people using their like high school friends as justification to not improve, or allowing their high school friends to like hold them back in life, because that's what a lot of my high school friends attempt to do. Either that, or I'm not really in touch with them, because at least the way I see the modern world, and this could be a byproduct of going off of the gold standard, because going off the gold standard literally makes everyone slaves. We're all slaves to bankers. And nothing against the Jews. I mean, they've namely just noticed this and taken advantage of this. I intend to fully do this. I want to start the Bank of Week to Warrior and finance all Week to Warrior employees, because that would just be awesome to do. But I do need to get like a bunch of sales and stuff first. Need to like really make a lot of money in this company, to like make a lot of sales, release these supplements, get everything up and going. I think I'll tell you guys a little more about like how getting the company up and running is actually working, because I don't know, it makes it interesting. So when I'm more successful, then like you can actually see a little bit of the process of like how I got there, which would be cool. So, but this isn't really about that right now. But basically though, yeah, so basically we're all slaves now, because we're all working for fiat currency instead of gold. So we're literally working for like monopoly money. Monopoly money. Yeah, we're slaves working for monopoly money. So because of that, I think we all have to act in a slightly different way. Like you can't really, like everyone else. So this is the thing. It's like normally, let's say the 1960s, you had a bunch of free people and then a bunch of people who didn't have any resources, but they were still free because they still worked for gold. And the other people had resources that could be exchanged for gold. They were measured in gold. They had money that was stored that was like kind of like actual gold. So it was like people actually weren't slaves. Now, like with everyone like, oh, I can't retire, oh, like, oh, taxes keep going up, inflation. Just a byproduct of the fact that you're a slave. Fundamentally, like fiat currency has enslaved you. It's enslaved me. It's enslaved all of us. It sucks, but the first step is to acknowledge that we're all shitty bankers to the U.S. government, lending our value to the U.S. government in exchange for dollar bills that constantly decrease in value. It's a really shit deal. It doesn't really help anyone. So, I mean, hell, I don't even think it helps the banks, because it disincentivizes innovation, because you can't really save money in a fiat currency based system, because you're constantly having to convert your dollars into other stuff, which is the whole point of not using barter, is that you're not stuck with the burden of converting your dollars or your wealth into lasting wealth. The money is supposed to be money. It's not money, it's currency. So we're all stuck scrambling for basically rotting apples. The apples rot if you don't eat them. So we're all like fat because we have to eat all the apples before they rot, but we have to keep working out so we like don't just, it's a whole thing. So basically, I think that it makes everyone act like slaves, and you can't really have friendship between slaves who are trying to become free unless they're working together to become free, because, well, you're not free. So there's this boot on your neck, and there's this like understanding that at any point in time your employer can just force you to get an experimental vaccine and all this stuff. Like, it's this really weird system, and it roots back to fiat currency, but that isn't really the nature of this video. And Russia's back in the gold standards. The gold standard's probably coming back in the United States anyway. We need to go back in the gold standard anyway, because even the whole nonsense with socialism is even coming from the lack of money meaning anything. Because really, I think the way people are thinking about money is F things up, because they're like, okay, well, why shouldn't the government just give tons of money to all these people? The money isn't real anyway. Like, it's not like it's even real. Really, it's not. Like, literally, you look at the models, the economic models, and they say fiat currency systems work when the agents in them act as though the money has, act as though the currency, not money, it's currency, has value even when it doesn't. As long as we act like it has value, but it doesn't have value. So, like, what are we going to do? It's just a representation of a store of value. It's not even a store of value. So, basically, though, I think that kind of messes things up. I don't really think that that's probably the overarching factor. I think the overarching factor is that friends are inherently fickle because everyone's got a family. At the end of the day, like, everyone will always pick their family over their friends because you can always get new friends, but you can't get new family. Like, who's your family going to betray you to? Like, their other family? Hopefully they don't just have, like, other family. Like, you know what I mean? It's, like, very, like... And it's, like, family. It's more unifying than just, like, friendship. Like, I don't know. Like, friendship's kind of like, I know you for 5 minutes, known you for 5 years. You can turn your back on me at any minute. And I've experienced that. It's like, I've also had friends that didn't do that. And that's, I value them a lot more, obviously. But, like, I feel like friendship is, like, to a large degree circumstantial. Even family is. But it's like, you're either working, families, you're more circumstantially inbound. So that helps. But you're either working towards a goal or you're not working towards a goal. And if you're not working with someone towards a unifying goal, then you're inherently scattering. It's like Christ says, whoever doesn't gather scatters to the four winds. So I think that my experience, friendship is nice, but like outside of like random aid, I mean, like, I guess like just promising someone random aid to the greatest degree that you could have it. I'm trying to remember something now I'm thinking of. It's like friendship only exists between equals or something. Like, only nobility is capable of friendship. Like, you must be noble or a god, I think, to promise friendship or its equivalent. Like, it's a very profound thing to say to someone, like, I am your friend. And most people aren't capable of actually making that commitment. Like, they're ultimately willing to, like, turn their back on the person when things get hard, when, like, if their family were to make an alternate, like, oh, I don't like this person, there's like, and just seeing, or like, even like, in the particular case of very shitty people, even if their other friends are like, that they've made, like, and then like those people turn their back on them, and then they're like, I don't know, you need someone who's capable of, first of all, you need someone who's capable of having no friends to be a friend. If you can't have no friends, then you can't be a friend, because you'll always sell out someone for other people because you'll be afraid to be alone. Sad but true. So you need to have that ability to, like, be alone. Then it's like, be alone with who? Your family? So you need to have, like, a family network. I think friendship, to a large degree, depends on functional family networks. I think this is really what it is. I think friendship depends on functional family networks, because if you don't have a very functional family network, then you're ultimately not gonna, like, your family, I think, provides you with the emotional stability necessary to be a good friend, unless you're like a very, very, very remarkable sort of person that probably I'm not, and definitely most other people aren't. If you're watching long-form videos of me, maybe, I don't know. I like to think that the people who watch my videos are of a higher quality than other people, mostly because they share higher quality ideas. I try to be higher quality than most people. It's not hard. Just don't drink copious amounts of alcohol to numb yourself. Watch absolutely stupid programming and like literally just pay attention. So I think friendships are good insofar as they encourage that, but I think a lot of people, they don't really know what friendship is. Like, I'll talk about my experience of friendship. My experience of friendship is that I've had a lot of people that I call my friends over the years. And I don't know, let's say out of 50 people that I've called my friends, I maybe still talk to 3 or 4. And a lot of it, it's very personal. I love, like, The Godfather. He's like, it's all personal. It's all personal as hell. Every piece of shit that every man has to eat every single day of his life is 100% personal. The Don knew that. That was the key to his greatness. I really believe in that as well. I think that every piece of shit that every man has to eat every single day of his life is completely and utterly 100% personal. So, ultimately, it is all personal. It's all, like, ultimately, like, I don't know, it's mostly all, like middle school, like, the elementary school friends I had, like, all, like, abandoned me because they're like, these other people are cool. You're not cool like them or something, like, just bullshit. And then, like, but, like, subtly and, like, way, like, they just don't talk to you really anymore. And then, like, the friends I made in high school, like, I don't know, they just, like, never, like, hit me up, like, ever. Maybe, like, 1, 2, 3 of them. Like, 3 of them do. Like, three of them, like, hit me up. And I still hit them up, and we're still, like, we still chat, we're still hanging out. But, like, occasionally, once or twice a year. And that's where it's like, I'm like, okay, like, what is friendship? Like, let's, like, really look at it. Like, those people, though, I consider them my friends. I go to the ends of the earth with them. That's why I had 2 other friends that I lost this year, but they weren't really my friends anyway, because you can't really lose a friend. Like, they ultimately just were never really my friends, and I realized that. I'm like, oh, shit. You were never really my friend in the first place. You're kind of creepy, though, because I thought they were my friends, but, I mean, they never really wrestled, though. So I'm like, if you never actually wrestled, like, can you be someone's friend, or are you just, like, fundamentally a little bitch? Maybe some can. I mean, my father didn't wrestle, and I don't consider him to be a little bitch, but he's a remarkable man. So anyway, I don't know, though. Like, it was just, like, weird. I had these people, like, and there were signs, you know, so, like, one of them not, like, surprised. Like, the other one, like, there were also signs. I'm not entirely surprised. But there are signs of people all the time. It's like, you can just tell, like, people aren't, unless they're really throwing their lot in with you. My brother experienced this. Maybe, like, we were like, my brother and I got into business in the past few years, and like he like invited a bunch of his other friends to get into business with him, and he was like, they just don't even want to do anything. I'm like, yeah, man, that's what it is. Like, why would they throw their lot in with you? Like, people don't really do that. I mean, like, it's helpful. Like, it'd be helpful if people could, but like they can't. It's hard. It's hard to do that. It's ultimately an act of faith. So, I don't know. I think of friendship like the ability to invest. The ability to invest is there. And like an investment, you can draw on your investment. But it's like, so it's like friends are like people that I have aided in the past and who have aided me in the past. That's like how I think about it. Like, if you've helped me and I've helped you in the past, then we're friends. And as long as you don't literally show me definitive proof that you're just waiting to betray me, we can continue to be friends. But if you show me definitive proof that you're just waiting to betray me, that kind of puts a damper on things. And furthermore though, like, I don't know, it's like neighboring kingdoms or something. It's like, I think that it's like friendship in some ways depends on mutually being at the same status within one's own mind. Like, you have to think of yourself in the same way. Like, even if, like, I have friends who aren't business owners, they think of themselves as owners of the corporation of themselves. That helps. But if you don't think of yourself on the same level of status, like, a man can be a pauper and a man can be a king, but if they both think of themselves as kings, then you have Diogenes and Alexander. Diogenes and Alexander can be friends, but Diogenes can't be friends with a slave, because Diogenes is not a slave. And Diogenes, like, it's sort of like, I don't know, like, you have to both take baths, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you just stink because you won't shower, it's like, it puts a damper on things. So, I think friendship, it's interesting, like, but there's a temptation to resent your friends, because you could be like, well, they're not helping me. And it's like, but, like, should they? Because they have to help themselves. And like, are you helping you to the greatest degree that you could help you? Because probably not. So it's this weird thing where you have to, like, respect your friends to do their life and still have this admiration. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, I just saw 2 people that were fairly close to me in the past year just completely, like, it was like they turned into Gollum. Like, it was just like, they just were like, you with your believing in yourself and you're thinking you're above everyone else. I fucking hate you, you piece of shit. I was like, holy cow. Like, I thought you guys were my friends, and like, no. But it's whatever, though. Like, I don't know, you kind of get intimations. I think it's like, people don't always like themselves. It's kind of like Marcus Aurelius says, he's like, why do you esteem the opinions of these people when they do not always even esteem themselves? It's just a lot of complexity. I think it's, you need to be a certain caliber of person, but then we come back to Eurylochus. A problem of Eurylochus. The problem of Eurylochus, guys. Eurylochus ultimately decided that he would rather turn on Odysseus than throw his lot in with Odysseus. He kind of just, it was like the second Odysseus faltered. You have situations where what you think is friendship is really, it's like mutual admiration, but it's mutual admiration without self-knowledge. Like Eurylochus doesn't understand he would have made the same mistakes in Odysseus' place. So he sees, he's like, well, now I'm the new Odysseus, and I'll make you into Eurylochus, which he felt was an inferior position, but it wasn't. But he felt it was, so now he's imposing his former self-hatred on the man who thought of himself as his friend, but Eurylochus never knew what friendship was. The problem of Eurylochus. I don't know. Scrum is a really useful framework, and this is where I think that like goal orientation is necessary, because without goal orientation we descend into let's call it role-oriented nepotism. We're either goal-oriented or role-oriented. And I think, this is probably where a lot of the arguments in modern society are coming. Like, it's like marriage. Like Nietzsche says this. Oh my God, this is why I love the long-form videos with no fixed topic or no fixed structure, because I come up with the greatest stuff. So Nietzsche says like marriage fails more often for lack of friendship than lack of love. And I think that marriage becomes role-oriented when it's not goal-oriented, because marriage is no longer goal-oriented because men and women don't communicate, and we're all distracted and watching porn and like just drinking and not communicating with ourselves. It's all like lies. Because of that, I mean, Peterson talks about how society descends into totalitarianism because of lies, which totalitarianism seems to be nothing more than role orientation and not goal orientation, because when people don't communicate honestly, they don't tell each other what they actually want, and then they don't make goals that are built on what they actually want, so then they're not properly motivated around the goal, and the goal is really an excuse to generate roles. And these roles are really just attempts to defend our own power against what we view as outside threats to that power. And a lot of friendships and friend groups I've seen are merely this. It's merely a bunch of people assuring each other their masks are on straight. So because of that, I think that's the result of lack of goal orientation. I was just reading Scrum the other day. I have my bag. I'm not going to take it out because I fucking crashed the car. It's not even worth that. That's how everyone dies. You know, like, anyway, though, so you need to have goals. I think friendship is really just working together towards goals. And without properly articulated goals that properly inspire everyone, you really don't have friendship. Like my friendships in high school were all goal-oriented friendships. And now that we're all working towards separate goals in adult life, trying to not be slaves, the friendships are no longer active. They're latent friendships, because friendship, I think, is inherently goal orientation when it's not role orientation. Role orientation is really just ego-oriented nepotism. I don't think it's good. I think that's kind of like what Scrum is all about and Fordism is all about. Like, let's actually just increase human productivity by talking honestly about what's killing everyone, which to my mind is the health issues and stuff, which is why I'm doing Week to Warrior, and why my brother and I, which he's currently my best friend, like, we're like, it's Week to Warrior, baby. It's fucking working together on this mission, because I think that friendship is mission orientation. Like, what is male friend? Like, even my mom, not my mom friends, but my wife's mom friends. And my wife has mom friends. They're oriented around the mutual goal of relationship and for their children, for themselves, raising of children. Men's orientation has to be, I think, vocational. So I think that ultimately men, if they're going to be really friends, they have to work together on a goal. Like, even my dad, like his friends, he hasn't really like made new friends since he was working with them on companies together. I mean, like, he has other friends, but like male friendship, I think, is just goal orientation. It's like men make friends through sports or through conquest or through all this stuff. But that's the video, folks. If you want to conquer the goddamn world, stay tuned for what comes next.